Hey, I'm Grant with Grant's Game Rex. Welcome to my monthly video on the best board games coming to retail. This is April 2025, and this, unfortunately, is a scary time in the world for the board game industry. I'm sure you've seen a lot of people in the hobby, in the game industry, talking about it already, but the tariffs are bad news for board games. And it's not just the tariffs, it's also just all the uncertainty around how much stuff costs right now. It's hard to run a business not knowing how much things are going to cost. You know, the production of board games is often a multi-year process, and you can't run a Kickstarter, you can't run a company not knowing how much stuff is going to cost you in the future. And I say all this, not to make a political point, but to note that we're already seeing the effects of it here in this retail video. There are companies who were originally going to have retail releases here in April that are now pausing their releases until there's some more clarity. Barnes & Noble canceled all of their orders for the spring and are moving them to potentially sometime in the future or potentially not picking them up. And that is obviously negatively affecting a lot of board game companies. So if you want to do something about it, message a company that you love and just tell them that you're thinking about them, or also message your representatives and tell them that the tariffs aren't good for you. If you love board games, it is unfortunately not a great time for it, but we will persevere. We'll figure it out together. And, even though some releases are paused for the month, even though some things are moved to an undisclosed future time, we do still have some great games coming out this month. So, and also, I also encourage you, this is a month to buy something from a publisher you love, even if it's not the newest thing. If you want to support a publisher just because you like the publisher, a lot of publishers are going to be focusing on selling down stock that they already have. So that's a great thing to look into as well. But for now, this is the retail releases of the month, and I promise to be here every month giving you the information, and that's what I will be doing. We've got about 22 games coming to retail this month that are all great. So I'm going to get into the games. Also, if I seem weird this month, it's because I can currently not turn my head to the right. Oh boy, I've slept weird and I've been traveling a lot. Oh, left, look, I can go left. Nope, not right now. So, getting older's fun. All right, first up this month, 25th Century Games is releasing Conservas. This is a solo-only game, so if you're looking for a one-player game, here you go. Conservas plays in 25 to 40 minutes, and it is a medium-weight game, but on the lighter end of medium weight, the low end of medium weight, just tipping over the scale from lightweight. This is a game about canning fish, that theme that we all want in our lives. We're all thinking about canning fish all the time. It's a bag building game, and I love bag building games, so that definitely interests me in the game. You are going to be pulling stuff out of the bag, and some of those things are just going to be water, and some of it is going to be different types of fish. And then you are assigning those fish to various boats that you have. Those are going to help you get more fish tokens to add to your bag. They're going to help you get more boats to add to your fleet, and then you're gonna try to win the game, solo mode, trying to figure out the puzzle. There are a bunch of different scenarios in the game, and they escalate in difficulty, so if you want to increase your challenge, you can do that. And some of that sort of stuff is just to win the game, you need this many fish in your bag, or you need this many boats in your fleet, or every game comes with a different unique challenge. Every scenario in the game comes with a different unique challenge, and there are 12 scenarios in the game. So I always like a game that has escalating difficulty, because then you can find where you're at in your game journey and with this game. So yeah, that is one that came out in other regions before, but is now here in North America. Conservas from 25th Century Games. Asmodee, in association with Lion, is releasing Gardlings. This is a 1 to 4 player game, plays in 20 to 45 minutes, and this is a lighter weight game. This is another bag game, but you're not you are doing some bag building, but it's also about the tile laying that you're doing. You're going to be putting tiles into a bag and then pulling out tiles and sort of building your grid with the tiles you pull out. You're going to be putting halves of gems together that will make a full gem, which will get you money in order to buy new tiles to add to your bag. But there's a push your luck element to the game because the tiles have different types of creatures on them, and if you pull too many gnomes, you bust and you lose a bunch of money. Once you decide to end the round and you've got your tableau of tiles in front of you, your grid that you built out of tiles, you're going to count up the amount of gems you have, and those are going to get you various tiles to add back into your bag. And the more you have, the better those tiles will be, the more sort of gems and money and stuff they will generate for you. So one of the cool things is that all the players are simultaneously building their tile area in front of them, so there's not a lot of downtime in the game. We'll all be pulling stuff from our bags and building our own little area, and then that area gets wiped every round, and so you're kind of rebuilding the same stuff, but hopefully building it better now that you have better tiles in your bag. So, you know, if you like tile placement, if you like bag building, if you like light puzzle games, all of those might be reasons to play Gardlings. It, you know, plays pretty quickly and with a lot of simultaneous play, so you're not waiting around for it that much. Next up, Asmodee and Lion are releasing Sparks. This plays 1 to 4 players in 45 minutes, and it is a medium weight game. In the game, you are running your factory and building robots and then bringing them to life, which is fun. I like that theme. I like robots, you know. I mean, not if they take over the world. I don't like that. Thank you for please don't do that, AI. Please don't take it over. Leave it for us, and then we'll work together, you know. But that is what you're doing in this. You are... as the active player, you will be pulling a bunch of dice and rolling them and then assigning them to this little area, and then you will be drafting a certain number of them as the active player. And when I say a certain number of them, you have these tiles that will allow you to draft a different amount of dice each round. And then each other player is going to draft one of the remaining dice available. So you always get something even if it's not your turn. Then you're going to be taking those dice and assigning them to different robots. And different robots need like a yellow, a green, and a 3. And then you complete that robot. You know, they all have different requirements. And when you complete a robot, you get a benefit from them. You get, you know, cool stuff, and then you can activate robots in the future. You can get special abilities from them, and you know, that's all fun. So there's like an engine building aspect to it with sort of building and finishing robots, and then you know, activating them in the future. I like dice drafting too, because it's simple but hard, you know? Like, it's simple to learn, but it always comes with tough choices, and you never know what it's going to be because it's dependent on dice rolls, and you never know what you're going to pull from the bag. And so, yeah, all of that. And the art and stuff of Sparks is fun as well. There's a lot of different assistants in the game that you can kind of activate, and each of them gets you a unique ability, and the variety of assistants ensures that each game provides a different challenge. There's also an advanced mode in the game, just to note, so if you're looking to scale it up, you can do that as well. Asmodee and Chili Fox Games are releasing the game Spectacular. This plays 1 to 6 players in about 30 minutes, and it is a medium weight game. You might have heard of Spectacular already because it came out in Europe last year, and it got a lot of good attention. Spectacular made a number of content creators' top 10 games of the year list. I saw it spoken highly of a lot. And so now it is having its retail release here in North America. So if you've heard about it and you've been curious and wanting to play it, now you can. One of the things I will note, a lot of these ones have little sort of similar DNA going into it, because this is dice drafting, and it also has a ton of simultaneous play. So I did get a chance to play this one at PAX Unplugged. I really enjoyed it, and there's not a lot of downtime in the game, which is great. I love that about you don't want to be waiting around for your turn. Nobody likes that. Thematically, you are you're combining tiles and dice to create like an animal park, kind of like a wildlife refuge type of park. I don't know that theme comes across a ton, but it is there. The cool thing about the game is you have both a dice and tile pool that is your own personal one, and also a dice and tile pool that gets passed around the players. And so there are times where you get past something and you're like, I don't want any of that stuff, I'm going to use my own personal stuff. And times where you get past stuff where you're like, oh yeah, I'm taking 2 things from that this round. And then you're building out your tile area and then assigning dice to your tile area, trying to connect like tiles, trying to build up number 6s around towers. You're trying to do various things, but it is one of those things where I feel like you need to play it once or twice to wrap your head around it. The first time I played it halfway through, I was like, oh, now I see what I should have done. I messed up that and that and that, but I'll do it better next time. And again, it's nice that it's a 6-player game. There's not a lot of strategy games that play up to 6 players. And with all of the simultaneous play, it's not like adding extra players makes the experience take that much longer, which I love as well. Asmodee, in association with Lookout Games, is releasing the game Sir Ocelot's Cave. This is a 2-player only game, plays in 20 minutes, and it is a lighter weight game. I love 2-player only games. Like, those are oftentimes some of the easiest ones to get to the table because you can play them after you put a kid down or, with the partner, that sort of thing. I honestly can't tell you that much about Sir Ocelot's Cave because there are no videos out there about it. And one thing I didn't realize is that a lot of people don't know how I do this video. Well, I learn a lot about these games going to conventions and talking to publishers, and then once I've confirmed games for this video, I do a lot of watching videos about the games so that I know about them, so that I can talk about them. Now, some of them I don't have to do that because I've played them, but not all of these. I haven't played all of them, so some of it's just learning information, and there's not that much out about Sir Ocelot's Cave, but I'm including it because of all the delays and things like that. I just wanted to give you all the stuff coming out this month. Thematically, you are 2 adventurers digging cleverly to collect precious gemstones. So if you want to be a penguin or an ocelot digging for gemstones, then check out Sir Ocelot's Cave. Asmodee and Space Cow are releasing the game Sliding Bears. This plays 1 to 4 players in 20 minutes, and it is a lightweight game. This is a game meant for families and kids, plays as young as 5. So if you are looking for a game for your younger children, then Sliding Bears might be the one for you. It is a cooperative game, and it's a bit of a slide puzzle. You are trying to get the polar bear cubs to cross the ice before it disappears, and you're doing that by sliding things around and trying to, get polar bears from one side to the other and have them jump between ice sheets, they're not cubes. They're not cubes in the ocean. They're ice sheets out there. But, it's a nice little puzzle game, and because it's cooperative, if, you can help your kids, and there's a nice puzzle to learn there. So, and, it does have cute little polar bears on it, for sure. Everybody loves cute little polar bears. All right, next up, Asmodee and Space Cowboys are releasing the game Garden Rush. This plays 2 players only in about 30 minutes, and it is on that edge of light to medium weight game. This is a game where, there's a bit of cutthroatness to it for sure. There will be a draft sort of row where you can draft these vegetable tiles, and then you're going to move them down into your grid, and you're trying to create Tetris-like patterns that you can score. And the more, let's say you have tomatoes. You could score it for 1 tomato, or you could score it for 3 tomatoes in this configuration, or you could score it for 5 tomatoes in this configuration. And so you are deciding when to score those things. One of the interesting aspects of the game is when you draft a tile from the row, you can move it to the same column and it will stay on its 2 vegetable side, meaning you essentially can score it twice. However, you can also draft something and put it into a different column, not the column it's associated with, but if you do that, you have to put it on its 1 vegetable side, so you only score it once. So there could be some hate drafting in the game for sure. I know you're really trying to get that carrot, so I'm going to take that carrot before it gets to the row that you want it to get to. It's just creating patterns and scoring for those patterns. So, and sometimes it might be worth it to go, you know what, I'm going to take that right away and, put it in a different column, even though it only scores once, because it's going to score be this 5 shape, and that's what I want to do before you can grab it and prevent me from doing that. So Garden Rush, 2-player game, plays in about 30 minutes. Cardboard Alchemy, in association with Lucky Duck Games, is releasing the game Critter Kitchen. This plays 1 to 5 players in 60 minutes, and it is a medium weight game. I love Critter Kitchen. I will say that right out front. I have played this game a number of times. I've probably played it, 6-7 times at this point, and I like it. It's going to challenge to be in my top 10 games of the year. It was my number 1 anticipated game of 2024, and then unfortunately didn't actually come out in 2024, but now it's coming out here in 2025. It's like a really good mix to me of fun artwork, interesting strategic gameplay, but then also just a lot of intrigue trying to figure out what everybody else is going for and trying to outsmart. It's got a lot of player interaction in it, and I love that about the game. You have 3 different chefs that you are sending out to spaces on the sort of shared play area, the board, if you will. It's not really a board because it's modular, but you're sending these 3 chefs out there, and your little guy chef picks first, but he can only carry 1 thing, whereas your big guy chef picks last but can carry 3 things. And so, you're trying to think of where can I go to get the things that I want, but also where other people aren't taking stuff before me. I just love that aspect of the game, and it comes with like big emotional moments when either you're like, yes, haha, I tricked all of you, or you're like, no, why did everybody decide to go there? Are you kidding me? You all chose to go there? Why are we all doing this to ourselves? And again, there's a lot of content in the game, so that there's a lot of, replayability to it. There's a lot of different critics that will come in and sort of change the last round of the game. There's all these different zoo chefs, which will give you bonuses and benefits for the round. So there's a lot of different sort of variability, and again, plays 1 to 5 players, so it's nice to have that little bit of higher player count for a strategy game. It's the same artist that did Flamecraft, so it's very cute art, very colorful, cool. It looks great on the table. Critter Kitchen is for sure worth it. It had a fairly large Kickstarter campaign, but now the retail version is out, and so the retail version is going to come with cardboard food items instead of like the wood token food items, but it's still the same great game and a cheaper price point for the retail version. Devere Games is releasing the game Moirai. This plays 2 to 4 players in 20 to 30 minutes, and it is a lighter weight card game. Thematically, you are weaving the thread of life, making the most optimal card combinations. Devere is probably more well known for their bigger box games like Batoku or, Red Cathedral, White Castle, which aren't really huge box games, but they're big strategy games. They also have a line of small box card games, and this Moirai is in that small box card game line. So if you like, games that feel like modern twists on classic card games, then Moirai might be for you. On your turn, players choose to keep a card or take the entire discarded pile and place all of those cards in their loom. And, you must create a loom with cards in which various lives will be woven together. So kind of a cool, unique theme, too. And again, card game. So if you're looking for a smaller box game, then Moirai might be for you. Devere is also releasing All Aboard, plays 2 to 5 players in 20 minutes, and it is a lighter weight game. This is another game in their card game line. So again, if you like card games, then All Aboard might be the one for you. I feel like All Aboard might be a little bit lighter than Moirai, so maybe that's a consideration for you. Like this one can play ages 7 and up. All Aboard can play ages 7 up, so it's a little bit lighter. You have to get your gang of animals to safety in the different boats. However, you're going to be putting animals face up and face down. If you go to a boat, if 2 of one animal goes to a boat, well, they fall in love and you get extra points. However, if 3 animals go to a boat, then they fight because there's too many of them there and they're fighting for dominance. And so when you're putting cards face up and cards face down, you never really know what other people have played. So there's a lot of reading other people and trying to figure it out. The other thing to consider is then you have to add up the sum weight of all of the animals that have been sent to one boat, and if it's too many, then that boat's gonna sink. If you put 4 elephants on a boat, that boat's not gonna make it. That's too many elephants on a boat. And everybody starts the game with 12 of the same animals, so we all have the same animals that we can play out, but it's about trying to figure out where you can go strategically to get extra points for yourself by creating pairs, but not overshooting it with triples or more. So yeah, it's just a fun, light card game about getting animals in a boat. Next up, Gale Force 9 is releasing The Adventures of Conan. This plays 1 to 4 players in 90 to 120 minutes, and it is a medium plus weight game, maybe on the higher end of medium weight. And this is a semi-cooperative game, meaning that you might be working together at points during the game, but you are all out for yourself. This is not a we win or lose together, only one person will win. And you might be playing as Conan the Barbarian, you might be playing as one of his allies, or you might be playing as one of his foes, trying to stop him. It is an asymmetric game, meaning each of those types of characters, each character in the game is going to come with its own special abilities. And it's also going to come with its own dice, because this is sort of an exploration dice chucking game. You'll be rolling a bunch of dice, and some of those will come from a shared pool of dice, and some of them will be specific to your character. And, you got to complete your goals, and you got to move around the board and do stuff. You will use your custom dice. You will pray to the gods for power, explore the world seeking combat and training, and carry out adventures and encounters to unlock bountiful rewards. So if you want to, if you like exploration games, or if you like Conan as an IP, if you like the action figures or the cartoon or stuff like that, there are a few ways to win the game. There are 3 different sort of end game triggers, which I like because it keeps the strategy different between different games. You never know exactly how it's going to end. You know, again, a bunch of asymmetric characters to explore in the Adventures of Conan. Grand Gamers Guild is releasing the game Inferno. This plays 1 to 4 players in 45 to 120 minutes, and this is a heavier weight game. This is maybe our first heavyweight game of the month. This is all about Dante's Inferno, the poet, what was that? I don't know, the Renaissance era? Boy, I don't remember when Dante was out, but you know, he is the famous 9 circles of hell. And so this game is representative of that. You are advancing souls through the different stages of hell and trying to get them to their corresponding spot. You'll earn some points if you get the souls to their corresponding spot. They are known as sinners in the game, so you know there's a lot of theme in that sense. And then you'll also be doing some worker placement and activating the actions of these different worker placement spots, upgrading your personal player area. You know, there's as with any heavyweight game, there is a bunch of stuff going on, right? There's a lot of different mechanisms, you know, you can literally run out of souls. So one of the things you can do is exposing a sinner who is executed, and then their soul is led to hell. That's how we're adding new souls for everybody to be able to move into hell. And, you know, the different types of colors for the different souls are going to mean stuff, and it's going to help with different worker placement things. Yeah, but, you know, I think this one, obviously, if you like worker placement, that might be a reason to check this out, but the reason it's different from other worker placement games is that theme. It is a Euro-y sort of game about the 9 circles of hell. So, you know, that's pretty wild and interesting. I like that games are doing different stuff these days. Grand Gamers Guild is also releasing the game Ovation. This plays 1 to 4 players in 45 to 60 minutes, and it is a medium weight game, but on the lower end of medium weight. This is about becoming a classical composer. So, you know, if at the time you were reading Dante, you could have also been making music, and you are you're doing stuff. There are 4 action spots that you can activate, and those different action spots are going to get you various benefits. One of those things that they're going to get you is cards that then you get to tuck into those action spots. And now if you take that action in the future, you can use a music note to get the sort of upgraded action that you've just slotted in there. And then you're going to be buying cards and, you know, fulfilling types of performances. You know, that's what thematically they are. You're trying to do this performance on this card, and doing performances is going to get you points, and you're going to be seeking fortune and patronage. But you know, it's kind of that lighter engine building game. From what I've heard, it like takes a minute to ramp up, but then once you have a bunch of those upgrades, then oh, boom, 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 I want to activate this and get this and do this, and that's kind of where some of the fun lies in Ovation. Indie Boards and Cards is releasing the game Sherlock. The game is Afoot. This plays 2 to 5 players in 45 minutes, and it is a lighter weight game. This is a deduction game. You might have guessed that, but with a Sherlock theme, I feel like it would be weird to do a Sherlock themed game that wasn't deduction, for sure. So in the game, you can be asking questions of other people. You'll all have a couple of cards in your hand, and then there will be a card out on the board, and that card out on the board is like the culprit, right? And so this is just kind of a deck of cards, like you know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so you start with a couple, so I know it's not those 2, and then you can be asking questions of other players, like, are your cards all odd? And you have to ask yes or no questions, and then you're going to be keeping notes. You're also going to be moving around the board and getting some information as you you move around. So you're just trying to be the first. It is a race to figure out that one card in the middle. You know, you wanna be the best detective and the quickest to suss out the missing culprit card to win the game. So yeah, if you like light deduction games, then check out Sherlock. The game is afoot. Kinson Key Games is releasing Galactic Cruise. This plays 1 to 4 players in 90 to 150 minutes, and this is a heavyweight game. This is another game that had a fairly big campaign at one point, and now the retail release is finally available to those who want it. This is certainly our heaviest weight game of the month. I mentioned Inferno earlier was heavyweight, but that's a 3.5, and this is like a 4 on BGG's complexity rating. So, you know, significantly heavier. And again, as with any heavyweight game, there's a lot going on. There's too much for me to tell you all the mechanisms just here in this little overview, but you are trying to build and launch these giant cruise ships and you know, into space. You are trying to recruit people to go on the cruises. You're literally spending stuff to market the cruises. You are building up your ships. You know, you can have a front and a back, and then you can have up to 3 middle sections, and you're trying to get workers, and you're doing worker placement, and you're getting upgrades, and again, a bunch of other stuff. This is one that people have been saying great things about. So if you are a heavyweight gamer, you probably already know this game or have seen it, you know, at some conventions. But if not, and you're looking for a heavyweight game, I think this will be on a lot of heavyweight gamers' top 10 games of the year. You know, you have to like that type of game, right? Because this is, you know, they say 90 to 150 minutes. I've talked to many people where a session of this took 4 hours. Maybe, you know, maybe that's only the first time you play, but again, there's still a learning curve and stuff to figure out, and it is a big game. And so when you're launching ships, you're getting benefits. You are you're navigating the ship to various destination and days in space where guests will reward you for all your hard work. You know, just kind of a space cruise. If you want a space cruise, if you want a heavyweight game, then check out Galactic Cruise. Play to Z Games is releasing 23 Knives. This plays 3 to 8 players in 30 to 60 minutes, and it is a medium weight game. This is a hidden role game of sorts, but not really a social deduction game, because in the game you could have one of 3 allegiances. You could be a loyalist to Caesar, you could be a liberator of Rome, meaning you kind of want to kill Caesar, or you could be an opportunist where you could go for either of those things depending on who's winning. And the reason why I say it's not really a social deduction game is, yes, you have an allegiance to start the game, but players can play cards in front of you, and if enough types of cards get played in front of you, your allegiance can switch throughout the game. You know, you could have started as a loyalist, but everybody played liberator cards in front of you, and now you have more liberator symbols than loyalist symbols. Well, all of a sudden you're now a liberator. Or you could also kind of die in the middle of the game, and then you have to get a new card, and that can change your allegiance, the new card that you're going to get. You know, there's not player elimination, but there is like killing off some people and then coming back. So, you know, and there's ways that you can play cards face down in front of other people. There's ways that you can eliminate cards that are in front of you. If you're like, no, don't make me that allegiance, I want to stay this allegiance, I'm going to get rid of that card. And so, you know, just a lot of player interaction, a lot of intrigue on who's going for what and who's changing where and how the allegiances are changing throughout the game. If at the end of the game there are 23 or more knives in the curia, Caesar is dead, and the liberator most committed to killing Caesar wins. But with fewer than 23 knives, the loyalist most dedicated to saving Caesar wins. So there's various ways to win the game, and it is certainly, you know, changing allegiances all the time sounds interesting to me. So that is 23 Knives. Moco Games is releasing the game Danger Hugs. This plays 3 to 8 players in 10 to 15 minutes, and it is a lightweight game. You can probably tell from this, the artwork that it is very light and silly and fun. In the game, each player, you divide the deck up amongst players, and then each player is going to play a card face down and then flip it up. Some of the animals that are in the game are sort of safe animals, and some of them are danger animals. And when 2 of the same safe animal comes up, you're trying to put your hands on both of those cards in order to give them hugs. Whereas if 2 danger animals came up in the same round, you're trying to do the action of the animal. If there were 2 lions out there, you're going, "Arr!" And so there obviously is a lot of silliness in this, in trying to do these actions first. A shark comes up and you're like, "Oh, I'm a shark, baby shark, do, that sort of thing. And so you are trying to get rid of your cards. If you can, the last person to do something, the last person to do this has to take all the cards in the middle. And you don't want to take cards, you want to get rid of all your cards as quickly as possible. And so, it's, obviously works for kids and families and things like that. And it's got full of very adorable artwork. That is Danger Hugs. Steamforge Games is releasing a number of things for Elden Ring. First up, I'll talk about Elden Ring Realm of the Grafted King. This plays 1 to 4 players in 90 to 120 minutes, and it is a medium weight game. This is a sort of big, expansive, cooperative game. Elden Ring is a very popular board game, and Steamforge does a lot of tabletop versions of popular board games, and so that is what this is. You don't have to know did I say tabletop versions of board games? I meant tabletop versions of video games. I just realized what I said. They do the tabletop versions of video games. That would be weird to do the tabletop version of board games. Hey man, we just ripped off your game and made another one? No, you can't do that. No. Steamforge does a lot of the tabletop versions of video games, popular video games. And so this one is, they do a good job with the theme of really making it feel immersive and expansive, just like the video game. This has a bunch of different sessions, scenarios in it, adventures to go on, and each scenario might be 90 to 120 minutes, but this box has 30 to 40 hours of content in it. And so it's a lot. There is a lot in here. And there's not dice rolling. You're not doing dice checks. It's more sort of deck building. This is all, the combat is driven by cards. The gameplay is driven by cards. There's going to be narrative and storyline and things like that are happening as you play it. You can level your characters up. You can build their deck to make them better at certain things. You can add equipment to them, all of that sort of stuff. And then, there are going to be some exploration happening through a hex map. Each player has their own dedicated quest book on which combat encounters will take place face to face. So again, just a immersive adventure cooperative storytelling game where you are building out a hex map of your surroundings, you're visiting unique locations, you're interacting with NPCs, you're fighting enemies, you're doing all this sort of stuff and tracking your progress with a narrative story that provides objectives and as well as guidance on how to achieve them. Steamforge is also releasing Elden Ring Weeping Peninsula. This plays 1 to 4 players in 90 to 120 minutes, and it is a medium weight game. They essentially are releasing 3 separate core boxes for the game. So when I'm bringing up all of these are not expansions. These are all separate boxes. You can combine content from the boxes and increase the amount of stuff you have to play through. Now, this box does note that it is about 20 hours of gameplay in this box, whereas the last one was 30 to 40 hours of gameplay. So this is the same thing where, you know, it is the cooperative adventure, storytelling, narrative. This is set in a different part of the world from the video games. I mean, it's set in a part of the world from the video games that's separate from the part of the world in the board game that I just talked about, Realm of the Grafted King. Each of them are sort of set in different lands, if you will. And again, not expansions. They are standalone boxes, but you can combine the content to get more content out of it, to get more hours of gameplay. But here you will be doing a lot of exploration, interacting with NPCs, doing combat. Steamforge is also releasing Elden Ring Stormvale Castle. Plays 1 to 4 players in 90 to 120 minutes, and it is a medium weight game. Just like the other ones, this is also set in the Elden Ring video game universe and is a standalone game. This is one of the 3 core boxes that can be combined with other ones. This one also notes it has 20 hours of gameplay in it, and it is still that cooperative adventure narrative type of game. So yeah, if you're looking for Elden Ring content, Steamforge has released a lot of it for you. So there's a lot of stuff to play through that you can whenever you want to. And there's a lot of hours of gameplay there for sure. Terrible Games is releasing the game Valka. This plays 1 to 5 players in 15 to 45 minutes, and it is a lighter weight game, but maybe on the upper end of lighter weight. It is a battle card game featuring unique and beautifully designed cards. The deck consists of 42 fighters and then 42 spell, action, and buff cards. So, like, you could put a fighter down and put a buff card underneath them that increases their abilities and stats. You are trying to create an army, and there are multiple modes to play it in. There's a multiplayer game, there's a solo game, there's a 2-player mode in it, but you are sort of using the cards that you get to build a front and a back line of your army that can stand against your competitors, and then you're just engaging in combat. You're going to be fighting each other quickly, knocking each other's armies out, and trying to win the game. In the solo game, you play as a warband of fighters using resources to adventure over a map and clear it of your enemies. So again, multiple ways to play the game Valka. Party Tales is releasing the game Timelancers. This plays 1 to 4 players in 45 to 70 minutes, and it is a medium weight game. I covered Timelancers when it did a crowdfunding campaign. I made a video for their crowdfunding campaign, and I loved it. I'm a big sucker for time travel stuff. I like anything movie or TV show about time travel, I'm on board. I watch all the time travel stuff. I don't know why I like it so much, but maybe it's because I was a history major in college. I love history stuff, so the idea of time travel is really cool for me. But this is a competitive strategy board game that includes this interesting time travel element. You will have these workers that you are moving around the board, and you are landing on different tiles, and those tiles can get you resources and special abilities. And the board is modular, so the game will feel different, based on the layout of tiles in subsequent games. But then you can also put your worker into your time machine and gain these cards that you will sort of build out a timeline. And the cards that you are buying with the resources that you got will have various events from history, famous events from history, and you are building a chronological timeline down below your time machine. But where the time travel stuff comes in, you can sometimes gain a card and then revise that card. So instead of putting it face up, you're going to flip the card, and now it's like history has changed. And if you flip a red card, then every red card that comes after that year is also going to flip, because it's creating a ripple in time. And then also, all the red tiles out on the board are going to flip to their other side, and now they're going to have a different special ability, because it's creating these ripples in time. And it's just a really cool thematic way to do time travel, to like create these ripples in time. I just love that aspect of it. And you know, it is a strategy game that plays in like an hour, and that's a real wheelhouse for me. I love strategy games that still play fairly quickly. So Timelancers is one I want to play more for sure now that it is coming out to retail. So that's what I got for you this month. You know, I will still be back with a best expansions coming to retail and a best new editions coming to retail video. So those will be coming out soon. So make sure to check back for those if you're interested in that type of content. And, you know, support the board game industry as much as you can. Obviously, you know, you gotta... I'm not telling you to spend all your money and go bankrupt on this sort of stuff. Like, take care of you too. But if you have extra, like, this is a good time to support the board game industry. So thank you so much. Thanks for liking, subscribing, sharing, all that sort of stuff. I'm Grant with Grant's Game Rex. Thanks, everybody.